Hello, I'm Zeenat. I was trying to predict the job outlook for transgenders in India in the next 3 to 5 years. I couldn't proceed because there was absolutely no data. How does one deal with situations where data is vital but painfully scarce?
Thank you, Zeenat, for your interesting question. Let me try to get into the question itself first. After I looked at your question, I too came up with a blank. And what I found was the following. Only in the last census of India, that is 2011, they had published data on head counts of transgenders in India. That's all they were counting, the number of people who said they were transgenders. So, the only actual data, if you like, on a mass scale that we have for India is the census numbers. Now, according to the census, there is a slightly less than 500,000 transgender persons in India. So that got me curious to see whether that corresponds to what we find in other countries. So there has to be some sort of parity of transgenders across different countries, because these are not conditions that you acquire, but they are born conditions. So I looked at other countries. Had that number in India been correct, then other countries should have similar proportion of transgender people, but they don't. So clearly there's an undercount, and you can easily understand why that would be so. Because of social stigma and other things, it is far less likely that in India somebody will come out and say they are transgender. So even within India, if you look at the distribution by state, you see a huge difference. Again, there is no reason for different states of India to have different proportion of transgender persons, but they do according to the census, and therefore something is seriously wrong with that data. And as a result, it's not surprising that you were not able to proceed. And notice that what I have talked about so far is just the head count, that is, the number of people who are transgenders. Now, it is another level to find out about unemployment among transgender persons. Now, as a group, this group has one of the worst social stigma that you can possibly have in India, and therefore it is very, very difficult to get or assure employment for transgender individuals in India. The only way that can happen is if the politicians see them as vote banks and therefore come out to support them on a mass scale. And therefore pressuring the politicians is probably the only way that we can make any headway.